Kind of boring. So we're doing a little bit of an experiment. I don't normally do live streams this early. Most likely, if you're seeing this on a replay, which is cool. And I'll leave it up. I'll probably do a little bit of jamming just to wait for some folks to show up. And then I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm just going to do a little bit of a lesson here. So in the short term, I'm just kind of going through some backing tracks, and I'll post the links to the tracks I'm playing over. There's some other channels that I kind of like their stuff, and I'm kind of having fun playing over it. So there was that. What was the other one here? I'll be right there. Chitlins and Carne. That's not exactly the right one, but this is another one of those butternote music ones I was liking before. Yeah. tune real quick. So I think I was going to talk about some bending and stuff. I might save some of that lesson, but if we take, let's do a minor blues. Okay, we'll find one here. Here's one in B minor. And we'll see some of the things, some of the fun things we can do over this. If you're here, let me know if you have any questions. I'm kind of open for stuff today. This was kind of impromptu. So if you got something you have a question about, let me know. But if not, I'm just going to talk a little bit about doing some cool stuff over this minor blues here. All right, so this is a B minor blues. This is one of those Quist backing tracks. And we're, oops. All right, and the chords here, it's going to go G to F sharp instead of to the regular 4 chord. All right, so one of the things I've always loved doing is playing 6 over stuff like this. All right. All right, and the basic idea there, let's, is in the B minor here, I'm playing the notes on the 1st and 3rd strings out of the chord here, right? So this is the root, and then this guy right here is the minor 3rd, right? And if I go up a minor scale, I have this shape here, and we're just gonna use the note on the 1st string because that's the root as kind of our guide point. There's the 1st note with a note of 6 down. There's the 2nd note with a 6 down. And there's the 3rd note. Now you notice the shape kind of changes there. Right. That's a pretty cool sound right there in and of itself. One of the things I do like to do with this here, and this goes back to a lot of the pedal steel stuff I like to teach, is do this kind of bending thing where I've got these 2 notes. And notice the fingers I'm using here. I'm using my 2nd finger and my 3rd finger. Right? And that's the 9th fret on the 1st and 3rd strings, and bending them both up. What happens when I bend them up like that is that this note goes up a half step, all right, to the minor 3rd of the scale, and this note goes up a whole step to the 5th. All right, so those are actually chord tones. That's part of like the B minor chord right there. You know, so you can play it, or you got that kind of cool sound there. All right, now I'm going to bring that idea. I'm just going to play it through the chord changes using this. Whoops. I should have picked one of these without all the jamming. So there's a quick change. So I'm going to let it go through the chorus one time. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on here. All right, so I'm just going to play through over each of the chords. So there's the first one. There's the root, 2, minor, 3. We're on the 4 chords, is E minor. Same thing on the E minor. Right, and then back down over the B minor. Right, remember we're still in the blues chord progression. And then we'll go to E minor. Right, that's over the 4 chord. And then back over the 1 chord, same idea. Alright, and then we have over the G chord, same as the 1 chord. And over the 5 chord, you just go down a fret. Okay, So let me write some of this stuff out for you guys so you can kind of see the shapes that I'm playing with here. Okay, hopefully we can demonstrate this in both places. I'm just going to put these on the blank neck paper here. So we'll do this in blue. So we're in over the B minor chord. All right, so I was talking about this being the root, the second, and the minor third of that chord. All right, and then on this string, minor 3, this is the 4, and then this is the 5. All right, and I can highlight these things like that right there is a shape, and then we'll go orange here. That's a shape, and then that's a shape right there. So it's a little bit easier for you to kind of distinguish what's going on. So I can go up and down. All right, and then don't forget on this guy here, we talked about being able to bend that. Cool. If you're just joining me, say hi. Let me know who's here. And also if you have questions or if you want me to back up for a second. I started this, I think, before anybody was really on or paying attention. So if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will answer them for you. All right, so that's the B minor. And then when it switches to the 4 chord, I'm going to do these in green for a second. I'm actually going to run out of, so root 2, and there's minor 3 out here, and then minor 3, 4, and then all the way on the edge there, that's the 5. So if I wanted to, I could take it up to the 12th fret, and I've got the same vibe right there. I could kind of cheat and do it on those strings, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so this is the E minor. Oops. All right, and then some of the other chords that we're dealing with. So let's say we have a G, right? And the G, 3 and 5. It's good to hit that guy right there. And then for the F sharp, all right, that 3 and 5 just moves down a fret. All right, so what that does, that gives us, hey Gary, it gives us this idea where over the little turnaround there, you can actually just play these two and hit those. And we're going to talk about using this F sharp in a second. There's the G, there's the F sharp, and then back to the B minor. All right, so you're keeping the same ideas there. Yeah. So I'll kind of take a spin around this. All right, so that's over the first 2 chords, the B minor and then the E minor. I'm just making melodies out of this. I love taking that bend. And then over the G, there's the F sharp. And then back to the B. Just using the 6ths right there. So other things with the minor blues that you can do, right? There are things like we know that we're playing over the B minor, the B minor pentatonic or blues scale to solo over this. All right. So actually, let me put that. I'm gonna put that here in blue. All right. So this is our kind of our home scale here. Minor 7 root, minor 3, 4, 5, 7 root, minor 3. Oops, that should be circled. Okay, and then when it gets to the 4 chord, to the E minor, the one note that makes it very different is the minor 3rd, this guy right here. I'm just going to make it red. All right, And he's also right there, right? So if I'm just going to play licks over this, all minor pentatonic, there's that note for the 6. That's the E minor. And then we're back to the B minor. There's the E minor again. All right, and then we're back to the 1 chord. Now, I'm going to do something here. Now, what I just did there over the, because the chords there go G and then F sharp, is I just played the arpeggio for those. All right, not very exciting, but you know, for instance, so purple will be the G, root 3 5, root 3 5. All right, and then in the this other color here, we'll do this in green. All right, the green is the F sharp. All right, it's literally just moved down. All right, so if we use that to our advantage, what happens, you can totally nail that chord change without really knowing any fancy scales. Because we could talk about harmonic minor scales and all kinds of other stuff, but we're not going to just now. So if I'm going to play over this, oops. Give me a second here. Let's let this ramp up. Okay, so here's the top. Just B minor lick. There's the E minor. Right, and then there's the B minor because we had the quick change. Right, now we're in the 4 chord, E minor. Now here comes the G. There's the F sharp chord. And then back to the B minor. Okay, so I'm going to take another pass at this. I'm doing it a little bit differently though. Kind of the same idea, but on different strings. So I'm kind of, right. Now when I get to the 6 and the 5 chord, right. What I played there was a harmonic minor scale. All right. So, and the thing about this scale, and I'll write it out here for you. Root 2, minor 3, 4, 5, minor 6, is that the scale has a major 7 and a minor 3rd in it. All right, and we won't get into the theory for this, but what happens here, and once I write this out, 7 root 2. All right, is I can go back and I can highlight those chords here. So this is the G. And then in this awful color, this will be the F sharp. All right. And there's other notes there. Does this make sense, guys? All right. Basically what I did there is I wrote out that B harmonic minor scale, which is essentially just a minor scale with a major 7, right? And then the notes that actually make up these interesting chords, that works there. So if I was to find like The Thrill Is Gone as a backing track, Okay, that basically has these chords in it. Let's see what happens here. I've heard B.B. King, but it hits all those notes and those chords. Now, if I was going to do more of a B.B. King approach, I mean, it's obvious that you can go without knowing this stuff. You guys can hear the backing track, right? So I just play through the same thing, just using the minor pentatonic. Right, now, more minor scale. So a little bit there, plus I need to tune, obviously. And I'll pause if anybody has a question. Please feel free to ask. Something was not tuner effect there. Okay, so that's, and I'm gonna put backing tracks for all these and original tunes, so you can kind of hear original artists if we're covering stuff. I know this isn't really the pedal steel thing, I promise, but it's kind of fun to talk about. It's just a different approach to a song that we all end up having to play over, right? The chord progression on the Thrill Is Gone, besides having the regular 12-bar blues thing going on, right? Instead of going 5 chord to the 4 chord, it does this flat 6, 5, and then 1. All right, and it's cool to actually take advantage of those kinds of notes and you know, kind of make your solo a little bit more interesting, right? So okay, so that's one thing to kind of think about with this stuff is, you know, on the Thrill Is Gone, we actually have the use of arpeggios, chord tones, and then we also have a scale that we don't normally associate with the blues. It's this harmonic minor scale, oops, that we're looking at here on the bottom of the page, that guy right there. If you guys are interested, let me know and I'll just make a better looking PDF of this. This is kind of my whiteboard thing going on here. So any questions? This is kind of a free time here, free lesson thing, because whoops, somehow I changed my deal here. This was unannounced and unplanned for, and I was just kind of curious. The other thing is, there's a little bit of market research for me. You know, I'm kind of curious if you guys can let me know where you're from. This is, I started this at 11:30 on a Friday morning here in Los Angeles, and I think it was probably about 7:30 in England, and then it's probably late afternoon on the East Coast of the United States. But I'm just, I'm interested in what times people can do these things. I already do a Wednesday evening California time, and I do a Saturday morning California time. And I wouldn't mind adding a third one if I could actually kind of make this work for people that can't make those other 2 times, or in other time zones, or have weird schedules or whatever. So please let me know, and then we can kind of work with that. So yeah, The Thrill's Gone is like one of those tunes I've played forever. And when you first learn it, you just go, oh, I can play my B minor pentatonic over it. All right, and then it sounds like I'm just playing B minor pentatonic. Over the years, I've kind of come up with a bunch of strategies to help me not bore myself. Houston is good. So for you in Houston, it's what, like is it almost 1 o'clock or almost 2 o'clock? It's probably like 2 o'clock. We're working from home. Hey, Doug. One of the things I noticed is my friend Tom Straley, who does he does regular live streams like this throughout the week. He does a lot of these before noon California time, and he lives here in Los Angeles too. And I was just kind of curious because he gets a pretty good turnout. Maybe there's a lot of folks that actually have access during this time, no matter where they are on the globe. Yeah, and I kind of purposely did this kind of without pre-announcing it, because I just kind of wanted to see who would show up. And hey, Chad. And most of you guys are like my work from home IT professional kind of guys. So doesn't have to be lesson either if there's other questions. I'm waiting for our good friend Randy Haino, Mr. Modern Saint, is actually taking over the making of the audio cables for my pedal board, because I apparently suck at working with Mogami 2319 cable and square plugs. So my pile of pedals back here hopefully will be passing audio in another week or 2. He lives like maybe a 30-minute drive from here. He lives pretty close. So he's got my cables. He's very good at stuff like that. And then at that point, then we'll start talking about programming my pedal board. I've got this like visualization thing. Like a lot of, it's funny, we have a mental health thread on the forum, and everyone's talking about like, things are tough, And for me, one of the things, I'm coming up on, well, it's been almost exactly 11 months since I last stepped on a stage, which is weird for me because, I play gigs weekly, and I teach in person and I play with students, and, so one of the things that I've kind of done is I feel like if I can visualize the return of normalcy, the idea that I'm going to be playing gigs again, it'll kind of help me kind of pass to this next part of it. And so one of those things was rebuilding my pedal board. There's stuff that I needed to do anyway. So at the end of last year, I just bought a ton of the things that I've kind of needed. And I've been kind of waiting for things to come in, and then I've been trying to do stuff myself. And it just turns out that while I have no problem soldering pickups, I really blow at building cables. And I've known Randy for a number of years. His son took lessons in our studio, and I've seen him. He's built like some pretty cool amps and things like that. He's got really good skills, and so when he's able to fit in the time to do it, so I'm being very patient, because obviously I've got nothing on my books, but I just realized that that's kind of become one of my I'm visualizing the day where I can start programming sounds into my pedal board again. Doug, you have a NASA electrical flight hardware certification. Yeah, I don't know what it is. The cable, when you strip the cable, my problem is that like the cable's got like the shield, and then it's got the outside jacket and the braided shield, and then there's another piece of insulation, and then there's what would be the hot wires, right? So you have to be able to strip the outside jacket off, leaving the braided shield, all right, and then you can tie, wind that up so it becomes its own wire, and then you have to be able to strip the inner shield off of the hot wire. And for whatever reason, even when I do it really cleanly, I seem to have a short, like I'm actually damaging the shield farther down the wire and it's making connections. It's shorting out somewhere. Because, I mean, I can solder. That's the easiest part of the whole thing. So I just kind of realized, you know what? I can sit here and fight with this and then have, like, bad audio going through my pedal board because I suck at this, or I can get someone who's really good at it to do it for me. And so Randy's going to do it for me. Yeah, I'm paying him, so don't think you can call him and ask for free stuff. But that's kind of because I've been talking about this pedal board thing for like a month and a half, and everyone probably thinks that I've like done nothing on it, and really I have done nothing on it, but I'm very excited about it because I've got some really cool pedals. I'm really happy with the stuff that I've gotten. So I've actually been playing, it's funny, I took my, let's see, ta-da, so that's my small pedal board. And with the Telecaster, using the M drive, actually I should have this on, is pretty much all I need. You know, the M drive is very not dirty. I mean, it can be kind of dirty, in the way that like a Klon can be dirty and kind of gross to me. But just pushing the amp a little bit. It doesn't have any kind of like mid hump or anything. It's literally just like what you put into it is what comes out the back end, plus a little bit of gain depending on what you want. But this guitar, here's with it off. Right, and the amp is like on maybe 3. It's, you know, and it's got the power scale, like the gain's on maybe the gain's on 2 or 3, and then it's got a power scaling and a master volume. And between the two of them, here, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about here. All right, so the gain is actually much higher than I would normally have it on a gig, believe it or not. Usually that gain is on like 1.5 to give me a really clean sound. And then the drive is actually the master volume on this amp. And then the power knob is actually the power scaling, which is almost like a master after it. And it's like this thing that they've, I don't know if Suhr still uses it or they've got their own thing now, but it's licensed from some company called London something or another. And it works really good. I can get a really cool sound out of this. I'll put you guys on my knee here for a second. Like if I want to, oops. Okay, let's try this with the, sorry guys, I'm gonna make you guys sick. I'm trying to do this so you guys can see though. Get a big shot of my whole garage here. Clamp this on the desk. Well, you can kind of see what's going on here. All right, so I've got, like if I put these guys all the way down for a second, put this on 7. All right, so that's the Telecaster bridge pickup. Let's get rid of the gain. I don't know what that sounds like on your end. I could actually probably. Actually, let's do an actual humbucker on here. This amp can sound like an AC/DC album at a fairly low volume. So we'll bring that guy in for a second. Give me just a second. And we'll tune this because we love to tune. I have to say, out of all of my American-made guitars, the Paul Reed Smith is probably the least hearty out of all of them. All right, so that maybe is a little bit loud there. But that's with the amp on 7. If I was to dime that, okay, that is pretty quiet. And that is just a straight amp. There's a little bit of El Capistan that might be too much for this. Yeah. But that's a conversation volume. I've played rock gigs in people's living rooms. With no pedals. So I'll kind of bring that back. But my normal clean sound with my pedal board for gigs is usually... And then with more, if I'm able to play the power section louder, I can get a lot more out of it. So, I don't know. I love showing this amp off in that regard because it's really neat. It's got a lot of oomph to it, but it doesn't really. There's no channel switching, right? So you basically have to kind of set it and live with it. And while you can do that to a certain extent, once you get the crunch going, there is no clean sound available to you. So, but you know, as far as just a kind of a all-around amp, I think it's pretty cool. The amp itself had a I bought it as a head. I bought it used, and it was just I might still have the head box here. And then at a certain point, I found an empty Suhr Badger 30 cabinet on the gear page, so I bought that for like $150. And then the speaker is a Celestion Creamback, which can handle the slightly higher wattage. And it's 35 watts. So like this amp can be, as you can see, it can be fairly quiet, but then by the same token, it can be ungodly loud too. And if you look behind me, sitting under my deluxe reverb here, that's actually the 1x12 extension cabinet, also with a greenback. For some reason, I'm not in love with that cabinet with this amp. It's the strangest thing. I don't like how it sounds with the amp it was designed for, but it sounds awesome with my deluxe reverb. So 99% of the time, if I take that extension cabinet on a gig, it's literally sitting underneath my deluxe reverb. And there's been a couple times where I've run both amps and the extension cabinet outdoors, and it is massive and it is beautiful. But I have to be like, the last time I did it was outdoors on a golf course last summer, you know, or I was playing at we do this gig every couple years. It's a chili cook-off, and they have like a big stage, and there's a couple thousand people, and then I can do it on that stage, and they're going to still mic it, but it's like I have the space to actually have that headroom. And I don't run it like super loud, but anytime that you're running 3 speakers like that with amps like this, it's going to be more... You can't really manage that indoors. It doesn't really work that good for that. So. So, okay. Any questions? So we talked a little bit about The Thrill Is Gone. And then I showed off some amps and some pedals and stuff. It's funny because I've got that. And then I've got this... J-Rocket 45 caliber. Actually, that sounds like not very cool now that I've actually done this other thing. But that 45 caliber is kind of good too. I just don't use it on my big board. It's kind of just for small stuff now. It's kind of like my Marshall Rhythm Overdrive when I don't have like my big stuff. So, I wonder, I was going to talk about pedal steel stuff. I don't necessarily know if I should. The blues stuff, we talked a little bit about the minor blues. There's actually a cool, what do you call it? Otis Rush tune called All the Love. Eric Clapton did it, I think, with John Mayall. And it's got this really cool intro. But the cool thing about it that I really have always liked is that it's got this, on the intro, when it goes from the 5 chord to the 4 chord. So you're in the key of F sharp. It's this kind of feel, right? Oops. Sorry. Right. So you're just basically taking the chord, the top part of the arpeggio, root, minor 3, and 5 of the C sharp, which is the 4 chord in this key, and just moving it down like that. If you got a whammy bar, you could put in some of the 6th from the earlier lesson too. So I'll put links to that. So I'm going to put links to Thrill Is Gone. That Otis Rush tune is really cool because it's got that part where it's kind of got that blues mambo, that kind of feel, and then it switches in the middle to like a total like shuffle, but like a walking bass line, and it goes back and forth between the two feels. It's really fun to play over. One of the things, I was talking to a student earlier in the week, and he wasn't really aware of all of the instrumental stuff that Freddie King did earlier on in his career. And we all know like Hideaway. But there's a great album where it's all of his instrumentals, and there's tunes like The Stumble. But one of the ones I really liked was, and Tom Harkenrider turned me on to this one. It's called Heads Up. Anyway, it's cool like that. And what I've always liked about those tunes was that if you've got a handful of them, you can kind of, if you need to kill time on a blues gig, it's not like just jamming. The problem that I have sometimes is that like people will play these really long solos on blues gigs, and it gets pretty boring pretty fast. But when you've got those instrumental things like that, even if they're surf tunes, it's way cooler for listeners that aren't guitar players, that aren't music people in general. I've kind of gotten to this point when we get back into things, I kind of want to have at least a full set of like instrumental stuff like that. It's going to be kind of a combination of like those Freddie King things, nothing too jazzy or funky, maybe some surf stuff, just fun stuff. And I'm not going to play them all the time, but it'd be nice to have like, let's start a set with something that doesn't have any singing on. Also, I hate relying on my voice every night, because sometimes I sing great, and other times if I get sick or but my voice is not super sturdy, so it's always good for me to have ways of kind of not having to sing but still entertain people. So I'm gonna open it up. If you guys have any questions, I'll probably at about 12:30 wrap it up. Hopefully I'm not boring you guys. I always like playing, more instrumentally things like that. I'm trying to build up a vocabulary. So, junk like that. If you guys are catching this on the replay, like I said, today wasn't a scheduled lesson. It was kind of an opportunity to see who was around and who would be interested in doing something earlier in the day. Not necessarily on Fridays. This place gets kind of noisy on Fridays. I got kind of lucky today. But maybe even Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. I can always do something like this. I kind of like the idea of doing a deal where it's a lesson idea throughout the week, and I've got it kind of repeating at different points of the day. Or if maybe I have a batch of people that can meet at a certain time that really just want to talk about blues or want to talk about funk or rock or theory, whatever. As far as tomorrow goes, starting tomorrow, we're going to start talking about fretboard stuff again. We've talked a lot about blues, and I've got some folks that need some refresher on how the instruments laid out. So we're going to actually start tomorrow morning on Saturday. And remember, this stuff is always available. You guys can always catch it on the replay. But I think we're going to kind of revisit the cage thing. But while I'm talking about the stuff that's in the videos, we're also going to maybe take a look at like licks and ideas that fit in those. So there's going to be more direct application, which I think is going to be kind of cool. Gary, you talking about this clean tone with yeah, this guitar has the Railhammers in it, and I really the clean cut I love. It's like one of my all-time favorite pickups. The Hyper Vintage is good. It's a humbucker, and it's got a lot of clarity to it. I've yet to play a gig with this guitar with these pickups in it. I do know when I was gigging this guitar regularly and it had the stock PRS pickups in it, I hated how it sounded because I thought the pickups sucked real bad. But I've always liked this guitar. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I typically don't like Paul Reed Smith guitars, and I picked this one up, and it's light and resonant, and it's like all the things that I don't normally find when I pick up PRS guitars. And it's not an expensive one, it's kind of cheap. So I like the physical, like being like playing it. It's just got this great liveliness to it, and it was just being choked by the electronics. So these pickups, especially that one right there, I love. That's a sound I don't have anywhere else. But like everything on this guitar has failed at one point or another. The pickups were falling into the body because the pickup bobbins were falling apart. I actually had to have my tech weld a nut onto the pickup bobbin because it had been stripped out. I almost immediately had to replace the 3-position switch here, which is one reason why the tip doesn't match. And then these guys here, the pots, like, you know, I've got a thing of deoxid coming, but like I almost feel like I need to replace these guys now too. And then these tuners are not. I'm not a good advertisement for Paul Reed Smith guitars. I love this one, everything except for everything that's on the. But it's a good guitar. I do really dig it. And the Railhammer clean cut. Sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't have gotten a clean cut for the bridge too. And maybe at some point I might try that. But this setup actually allows me to kind of use it on rock gigs. and then still have this really cool neck pickup sound, which I really dig. All right, it's a single coil, but because it's split in half, it's noiseless without actually being like a stacked humbucker or any of those other schemes. You can kind of see the line right there. That's the rail for the bass pickups, and then the slugs, I guess, the individual pole pieces for the treble pickups kind of make them sound a little warmer. So it doesn't have the ice pickiness of a completely rail pickup. But when you get into the lower notes, it's got a lot more clarity than a traditional pickup. So I like it. I like that pickup a lot. This pickup is good. I almost wonder if I shouldn't have gotten the next one hotter, actually. It still sounds good, but it's not as exciting as the neck pickups to me. So, sweet. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. I'm glad that Terry turned me on to these, and eventually, like, I'll probably end up having some guitar that will have both clear cuts, or like the clean cut in the neck, and then maybe the hotter version. There's like the Nuevo 90, and they've got it like 2 or 3 different amounts of output on those. And I'm probably going to end up having one instrument that's going to have just those kinds of pickups, because I think it's a great sound. This guitar, I think I need to kind of keep with the humbucker and the bridge, so we'll see. This one may just end up getting a slightly less vintage version, but I won't know that until I actually take this out on some shows. Part of my visualization of the future. But that's nice. It's nice and balanced. Let me get rid of the M drive for a second. I'll put on a little bit of the El Capitan. Don't even hear that. What's the that's the actual first chord for Purple Rain. Well, I always end up playing the B flat suspended second, but it actually starts on the D string. And then this guy's usually on gigs where I play this song, I usually end up playing this. It's like the first song we play. And grabbing this chord when your hand is cold is never good. If I'm going to make a mistake right off the bat, it's going to be grabbing that chord right there. So. Okay, so do me a favor. I'm probably going to wrap it up here. If you guys have requests for lesson stuff or other comments, please leave them below the video. Tomorrow morning, we're going to kind of revisit caged and fretboard stuff. And I have a little bit of a thought about how to make it a little less dry. And we'll kind of go from there. But that's going to be kind of what I think we're going to do for the near future. We're going to kind of abandon the blues for a little bit, unless you guys have specific requests. Gary, I'm not familiar with the Guitar Force stuff. 339. It'd be interesting to hear this clean cut in a 339, because you got the semi-hollow thing going on, and then you've got this kind of a lot of clarity. So it's I would think that there'd be a little bit of depth to it because of the semi-hollow thing. It'd be interesting. It would be interesting to hear in a 339. Yeah. Who makes Guitar Force? Or is that the actual company? Man, my hands are not working this morning. Cool. Okay, I am going to split. my usual disclaimer, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like these and want to know when we're doing the live stuff, please hit the notification bell in your subscription so you find out when I'm going live. I typically run on a schedule because my work schedule is kind of changing. There might be the occasional drop in like this, or I might say, hey, you know what? Let's learn this Led Zeppelin lick or something like that real quick. I don't know. I'm kind of re-examining how I'm doing the whole YouTube thing. So there's going to be, there'll still be like pre-recorded lessons and backing tracks, lots of backing tracks, because those seem to be real popular. But the live stuff, even though I'm getting, you know, maybe 30, 40 views per hour, when I'm doing these things, they're getting hundreds of views after. People are actually watching these later on, and they're getting a lot of view time. So these are very popular. So I'm trying to also figure out when I can do these where all those people that are catching the other ones on repeat maybe can join us live, because that makes it easier for me when you guys are talking to me, when you guys are asking questions, or you've got comments or whatever. Lord of the Blues set. I'm always nervous about things that are the Lord of the Blues or the King of the Blues, unless your name is B.B. King or Albert King. So anyway, do that stuff. Please, if you're enjoying this stuff, give the video a thumbs up. Maybe even share it with your friends. I'm in that like precarious point of having a YouTube channel where we're just starting to get things rolling. But every little bit of interactivity that you guys can do for me, the more it helps in the long run. So, all right. On that note, I hope you guys have a good Friday, and I'll be back here tomorrow morning, and we'll be talking more about just essential fretboard stuff. Have a good one, guys.